Of course, on the day that I have a guest, I have technical difficulties. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. It's me, that guy that some of you see on the daily, and some of you don't have no idea who I am. But I am PDawgKnight, and today we have a guest, our good friend, the Hard Bastard, who will be talking with him in a bit about some news of the day. And whatever comes up, we might do some stuff from the chat. Who knows? There's so many of you here. I'm not used to this, so we'll figure it out. But before we do that, I'm going to play the intro. Johnny, play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawgKnight. And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, and welcome to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is the 25th of September 2020, and this is the 425th episode of the Morning Night Live. And today I want to welcome my guest, who will be popping up on the screen in a second here as soon as my computer decides it wants to work, and it would be the Hard Bastard. Good morning, HB.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Hey, I am glad to have you here. So I watched your stream earlier today, and Cenk seemed to be a little unhinged, didn't he?
Yes, Cenk Uygur is calling for people to go to the White House and remove Trump.
Now, it's funny because this has to do with that. I think this has to do with that question from Brian Karem at the press conference that Trump had, which I caught it immediately when he said it, because he said something about, or his question was, there's riots in the streets, and we just want to make sure that, quote, win, lose, or draw, would you commit to leaving the White House peacefully? And I'm not sure if Trump even caught it, but his answer didn't necessarily answer the question that the way Brian Karem wanted to.
Yeah.
And so and then Cenk just went off on that. And a lot of the news people did. Everyone went off on that. Yeah. I heard it on Morning Joe. I heard it on the Young Turks. Everybody went off on that. Did you get the sense that Trump was saying anything to the sort that he wouldn't leave if he actually lost the election?
No. I mean, they've maintained if it's a free and fair election that they would leave. But part of this is the way that the media has redefined what losing means, right? So like, they're not just talking about if you lost the electoral college fair and square. They're talking about like what they're basically setting up, which is if it's muddled in the electoral college because of the mail-in ballots, and if Joe Biden wins the popular vote, they'll advocate for, well, Joe Biden won the election, and then Trump needs to be removed. And they'll probably fight harder with that, knowing that they're probably going to lose if it goes to the Supreme Court. So they're probably going to act like Trump's doing something illegal. They're already kind of doing that. Right. If he decides to fight it in court, they're acting like it's wrong. There was a whole thing on the Chris Hayes show yesterday about how it's just outrageous that Trump would go to court.
Well, and if it, with all the shenanigans going on with the mail-in ballots, I mean, they're already going to court in several states where they keep changing the rules. The latest one is, I think, North Carolina, where they're going to allow ballot harvesting, and ballot harvesting is just, I mean, at this late in the game, you're suddenly going to say, okay, we're going to allow ballot harvesting because we don't trust the mail. Well, they brought that narrative upon themselves too.
Yeah.
I think Democrats have been kind of pulling back on that too, saying, oh, well, no, just go do early voting now.
Yeah.
And they've already found that recently. They found the military ballots.
I think that was Pennsylvania. They found 9 ballots for Trump, or at least 7 of the 9 were definitely for Trump. And that was after an investigation. I think the FBI or the DOJ released a statement about it.
Right. Yeah. And so it's obviously, what's the word they like to use with the Russians? Sowing discord.
Yeah. Yeah. They're great at that.
They are absolutely just sort of sowing discord. Yeah. So let's do this. Let's get into a couple of the things I pulled up for today. Oh, before I do that, normally, now, if you're a regular here, normally I would be saying good morning to everybody, but there's 145 people in the chat today, and that would take me most of the show. But I would like to acknowledge the one person who is here first, and let me get back. Oh, I already know who it was. That would be Black Hebrew Israelite. And I don't know if any of my alerts or anything's going to work today, so my sound effects. But anyway, you would be getting the bell right now if my bell was working.
That's right.
There's the that's right and the bell all at the same time. There you go. All right. So let's get into some of the news today. Now, one of the big things that I found this morning was apparently there was a document dump, and as far as from the Attorney General William Barr, he's been gradually just declassifying documents from much of the here, I'll try to share this with you too. I'm working 3 screens here too. That's the other part. Let's see if my share screen works for you. There's that. Okay, there's that. That's good. And we'll go to this here. There we go. First of all, in this document by Attorney General William Barr, an interesting item came out, and that's about an insurance policy. And I know a lot of you heard the term insurance policy when it came to Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. Well, this is a little bit different type of insurance policy. This is from Sarah Carter, FBI analyst investigating Flynn purchased liability insurance. This is fascinating. FBI analysts charged with investigating then candidate Donald Trump and his associates over an alleged and now debunked conspiracy with Russia all went and purchased professional liability insurance because they anticipated they may be guilty of wrongdoing, according to new documents released Thursday. The statement was made on January 10th, 2017, and text messages released by Lieutenant General Michael Flynn's lawyer, Sidney Powell, as a part of multiple requests for exculpatory evidence. At the time, it appears the FBI team anticipated that the whole thing is pretty ugly, and we shall see how things pan out, adding, the concern when we got it was that there was a big leak at the DOJ, and the New York Times, among others, was going to do a piece. And if they were ever questioned by the new Attorney General, then yada yada yada, we all get screwed.
That's great.
So apparently they knew they were treading on some gentle waters, I guess, so to speak. Oh, I gotta.
Yeah, they knew. Go ahead.
Oh no, go on.
They knew what they were doing was illegal, and that's the thing about like these text messages, because there's been a lot of these, and people, including myself, we want to see indictments at this point, but these are I think very significant because it showed they knew what they were doing. They were even talking about how a lot of this was bullshit. The real good one was one of the FBI agents. I think it was like early January 2017. There was supposed to be a meeting, a classified briefing with Trump that was put off for a couple of days. And Trump tweeted, "I bet they're doing this to cook up more bullshit." I'm paraphrasing about Russia. And so there's a tweet where one of the FBI agents acknowledging that tweet goes, "Yeah, Trump was right. That's what they're doing."
Right. Real quick, I do have the first super chat of the day, and the new superstar donor of the day is Aka Hakushko. I'm trying to pronounce that. If that there's a joke in there somewhere, or it's just something I don't know. But anyway, who says, "Blessed are the wiped." I
Yes,
I had a
yes,
feeling that
that's true. That's
there
true.
would be a few wiped jokes today, especially as
Yes,
I
yes.
tend to frequent your streams, and there's a lot about wipe. So if you're not a follower of HB, by the way, his YouTube, D Live, and Twitter accounts are in the description down below. Continuing, and so the retired three-star general who served as the White House National Security advisor under Trump has been in a tense battle with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit to clear his name. Last month, Attorney General William Barr and the Department of Justice urged Judge Emmett Sullivan to drop all charges against Flynn, citing evidence that had not yet been made public. There was no case against General Flynn. Flynn's attorney, Sidney Powell, wrote of the new documents in a brief Thursday. There was no crime. The FBI and prosecutors knew that. This American hero and his entire family have suffered for 4 years from public abuse, slander, libel, and all means of defamation at the hands of the very government he pledged his life to defend. For these reasons and all those previously briefed, the government's motion to dismiss should now be granted with prejudice. Instanter for whatever that means. Instantly, I bet that's supposed to say, for multiple violations of case, and they brought a bunch of numbers for the name of the case. So this whole thing with Flynn, by the way, it's the most amazing pile of bullshit I've ever seen. They keep extending the case, and when they went to the Court of Appeals, the Court of Appeals said, "Okay, we're going to, allow this motion," or they said, "Go back to Sullivan and fix this." And then Sullivan went to the full Court of Appeals. I didn't think, because of the composition of the court, that they would still allow this to continue, and they did.
Yeah.
Is there ever going to be a time when these courts are not political? And I'm not just saying the courts after Obama added to them and after Trump added to them. Is anyone going to, on either side, going to fully trust the courts anymore?
Probably not. It'll probably come down to what the political leanings of the judges are. With Sullivan, this is like clear. It seems like clear misconduct, or at least clear political persecution. Or prosecution.
I don't get it either. This is the DC Court of Appeals sent it back, right? And there was just a Supreme Court case regarding this that was 9-0 that should have been precedent for this, so I don't get how they can continue this, and because Sullivan has turned himself into a party of the lawsuit as opposed to the judge in the lawsuit. It's just crazy. Anyway, let me real quick. Thank you, God Emperor of Duncan, with the 223, who says, "Here's another 4 years of Trump in the wiped house." And my sound effects aren't working. And God Emperor of Duncan is the new superstar donor of the day. Superstar. What did I say? Superstar donor of the day. Anyway. All right. Let's try and move on. My computer is not cooperating with me right now, of course. Let's see if we can get to this one. Also, the other big news yesterday, and you already had some of your favorite media personalities bitching about this one. Apparently, John Durham's taking over John Huber's fruitless Clinton Foundation review. U.S. Attorney John Durham has taken over aspects of U.S. Attorney John Huber's notoriously unproductive investigation into the Clinton Foundation, Fox News reported on Thursday. Before I even read any farther, who have you seen that have set their hair on fire about this already? I think you said had somebody. Didn't you have one of the videos yesterday talking about this?
It might have been Farron Cousins. I'm not sure that like there's so much crazy shit going on right now that like a lot of this takes a back seat as far as the media narratives. I don't think I don't remember anyone specifically. I imagine they're just going to do the same thing as, oh, this is, political, and there's nothing, the Clinton Foundation did nothing wrong, and yada yada yada.
Well, I'm waiting for Terrell Owens' take. Excuse me, Joy Reid's take on this. Anyway, in November of 2017, Huber was tasked to evaluate certain you just caught that, didn't you? In November 2017, Huber was tasked to evaluate certain issues involving the Obama-era Uranium One deal with Russia and potential corruption related to the Clinton Foundation, but nothing ever came of it. Former Attorney General Jeff Sessions also asked Huber to review the FBI's handling of the Clinton email probe, including allegations that the Justice Department and the FBI did not follow proper policies or procedures. Huber's inquiries reportedly ended in January of 2020 with no results. The Department of Justice Inspector General in June of 2018 concluded its investigation of the FBI's handling of the Clinton email probe, finding the FBI's explanation for not taking immediate action after discovering the Wiener laptop in October 2016 to be, quote, unimpressive. IG Michael Horowitz also found that in key moments, then FBI Director James Comey clearly departed from FBI and department norms in his decisions negatively impacted the perception of the FBI and the department as fair administrators of justice. There is speculation that Durham is looking into the FBI's deliberate suppression of damaging information about the Clinton Foundation found in Clinton emails in the fall of 2016. This another, again, there's so many amazing things about this. So they had a laptop from a convicted sex offender that was being used to show his wanker to underage girls, and it just happened to have classified information on it. How in the hell did that slip through the cracks?
It didn't. This is also where they had classified information. Huma Abedin had classified emails going through a Yahoo account, I believe.
Yes. Yes, she did.
Insane. But the media is like, oh, Hillary Clinton did not mishandle any classified information.
Yeah, well, they want to say, oh, it's about her mishandling her email. No. This was about mishandling classified information, not emails.
Yeah.
Don't give a fuck about the emails. It's the classified information in the emails. Please mute the music. What music? Oh, the alerts. I have the alerts here. Hang on. Let me see if I can. Apparently, my alerts are still playing, and I have them muted. I haven't fixed it. Anyway, well, let me do the super chats real quick. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh shoot. Here, I gotta fix this. God, this is annoying. All right, thank you, Nadler's Diaper, with the $2 super chat. Unwiped and unclean, drizzled and squish. So last night, and speaking of Nadler's Diaper, so last night I'm watching your stream, and somebody apparently did an analysis of Jerry Nadler taking a shit in his pants.
Ika Hakusho. Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, he super chatted earlier. He did a very thorough breakdown of Nadler shitting his pants. It was fantastic. I do believe you can hear it. I think there's an argument to be made that you can hear it.
Yeah, I don't know how you hear, but here's the thing that got me. So when he's still at the podium and he lifts his shoulder, so you think that's the first one, right? and he takes the first step away.
Yeah.
And do you see where Nancy Pelosi is looking when he steps away? She's looking down at
No,
the
I didn't
floor.
notice that. What?
She's looking down at the floor,
Oh,
almost like she
wow.
dropped one right there. Like it came out
Oh my
somehow.
God.
She's looking at the floor, and you
Oh,
see her stepping very gingerly. And as he's waddling away and she's trying to talk, she keeps looking over at him. It was one of those.
oh my God.
It was one of those. What the fuck did you just do? I'm just like,
Yes.
somebody had to
it's
smell
incredible.
something. That did not come out clean at all.
Yeah.
Also,
No.
real quick. Thank you, Justin Hermop. This is a very interesting last name. I think it's Hermouf, Hermouf. Justin Hermouf really whips the llama's ass. I don't get that one either. Anyway, and also Purple Pill Perspective says it's a hard wiped life for us. Instead of treated, we get tricked. Instead of kisses, we get kicked. It's a hard night.
Very
okay,
good.
I'm going to try to sing this. It's a hard wiped life for us. It's a hard wiped life for us. I don't know the rest of the tune there. Anyway, I know that part. Thanks. By the way, if you're new here, I would greatly appreciate it if you'd hit the subscribe button and hit the bell when that little thing pops up. And then also we do super chats through Streamlabs. That link is in the description down below. It's also in the well, it says right there, PDawgKnight.live, or it's in the chat. It pops up every once in a while. So just if you want to do super chats. And I apologize, I haven't been able to mute the super chat music. I think that's what someone was talking about. Anyway, also I have the obligatory dog frapple. Okay, that's just a thing between me and Scribe Light. Anyway, next story. Also, the FBI investigated Steele dossier source as a possible Russian spy years before the Trump probe. So apparently these FBI people had a relationship, or at least some knowledge of this person who supposedly gave this information to Christopher Steele, who is the guy who wrote the Steele dossier. And when I say wrote the Steele dossier, I mean he wrote the thing straight from out of whole cloth, because most of it was bullshit. Anyway,
Yeah.
the FBI opened a counterintelligence investigation on the primary source for dossier author Christopher Steele, and considered obtaining a warrant to wiretap him in 2010. Now, HB, I have a question.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of delay, I
Sure.
can tell. Okay. In 2010, had Donald Trump announced that he was running for president yet?
No, that would have been like 5 years early.
Oh, okay. So this guy, they knew about this guy 5 years earlier. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. The FBI was also aware of the information about the source, identified elsewhere as Igor Daschenko, by December 2016, according to the document. This is the most stunning and damning revelation the committee has uncovered, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham said in a statement after releasing an FBI memo about the dossier source. The document shows that the FBI considered a foreign intelligence surveillance warrant of Daschenko years before the Bureau relied heavily on information that he had provided Steele, a former British spy, to obtain FISAs against Carter Page. Now, okay, I know these are simple answered questions, HB, but is Daschenko, this guy that they're talking about, would he be a Russian source of information?
Correct. That would be correct.
Okay, and so when you have Russian source, let's see, Russian source, and that was information that the Democrats paid for, right?
Yes. The DNC and the Clinton campaign paid Perkins Coie, and Perkins Coie paid Fusion GPS, and then Fusion GPS paid Steele.
And so it seems like, didn't they just do a long investigation of the Trump campaign for dealing with Russian information or something like that?
Yes. Yep.
This is,
and they were so desperate. They were so desperate that they took a person they knew was basically like a Russian agent, and they took his word to get anything they could on Trump. It's incredible.
this is a fascinating. I wonder if what the soft gentleman would think about this. by the way, is he available?
He would
today?
probably ignore. Yeah. No, I don't know where he is. I'm gonna have to. He's probably in Thailand.
Oh my god!
But he'll probably be around.
Oh my goodness! All right, well that's fascinating. So anyway, yeah. So the FBI. Oh my god, this is incredible. Here's the highlights of this article, and I'll put it in the chat for you guys to read yourself, because I'm not going to read this whole thing. But a bombshell FBI memo released Thursday says the FBI opened a counterintelligence investigation into the primary source for the dossier, author Christopher Steele. The memo says that investigators pursued a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant against the source, Igor Danchenko, in 2010. Investigators on the Crossfire Hurricane team became aware of the previous investigation in December 2016, when they were investigating members of the Trump campaign. And then Senator Lindsey Graham, who released a statement called the most stunning and damning revelations. You know what else is hilarious? I would assume that the Mueller team also had this information, right?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. It's amazing. Oh my God. Where's Jesse Lee Peterson when you need him? It's amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
All right. All right. So let's see. Let's move on here. I do have to do my one shill of the day. Oh, I did my shill already. Now a couple other just strange stories, and we've been talking about narratives, or that's what I really wanted to talk about today, was some of the narratives, and this was an interesting narrative, story about narratives that I wanted to go into, where the American narrative is being rewritten. Greeting cards, university departments, comedy routines, and social media posts reflect a new canonical narrative. This is by Danusia Goska at Front Page Magazine. And I don't know what I wended my way up. You know what? I've noticed a lot of these online sources, they need editors. But anyway, I think he said I wound my way up.
Yes, that's true.
The Walgreens greeting card aisle. I stopped dead in my tracks. A card featured a cartoon image of a white man with a mullet haircut. This cartoon character wore a baseball or seed cap and a sleeveless t-shirt, a so-called guinea tee or dago tee or wife beater. The very names convey class and ethnic contempt, as the New York Times points out. Is the vilification of working class men fair? The Time laments in an op-ed, are we really still calling this shirt a wife beater? Over the sleeveless t-shirt, the character on the card was wearing a red plaid shirt with cut-off sleeves. Red plaid is associated with men who work outdoors and require warm, sturdy clothing. This is a shirt you could wear while working as a janitor, a plumber, a mechanic, or a landscaper. Even such relatively low-status jobs as golf caddy or busboy would not allow this shirt. Behind the man is his home, and if you are paying attention, you know exactly what his home is. It's a trailer, one of the déclassé models that would not be allowed in the better campgrounds. His mouth is open, he has one tooth, his chin is weak, he has no neck. Necklessness is a quality associated with subhumans. Orangutans, as well as some weightlifters, can appear to have no neck. An elegant neck is a sign of evolution. Necklessness is the sign of throwback. He has a hairy chin, a hairy chest, and hairy elbows. The caption on the front of the card reads, how about some redneck fireworks for your birthday? Inside, the white trash man is bending over, his buttocks are exposed, and as often happens when a working class man, a plumber, say, bends over, he is holding a lit match to his anus. Smoke appears. He is lighting a fart. Is this Jerry Nadler's neighborhood? Anyway,
Yeah.
search Google for toothless and white trash. You will find almost 1 million results. Perhaps the most sickening detail of this search is the many porn pages that offer toothless white trash as a sexual fantasy. What? You will see poor white people depicted as among the ugliest, most repulsive creatures on earth. Here. They just give a bunch of links. Harvard professor Henry Louis Gates of the Beer Summit fame collects race antiques. Such collectors are on the prowl for any product, no matter how obscure, that depicts African Americans in a stereotypical way. They cite the lawn jockey, the 4-piece kitchen canister set shaped like a plump black woman in the mammy attire, and declare, see, America is systemically racist. I'm throwing the gauntlet down, he says. Tell me that the toothless white trash images are any less contemptuous, hostile, and repugnant, any less saturated. Now, okay, I'm going to stop here for a second.
Sure.
Because we talk about the freedom of speech a lot, and they are jokes. They are jokes about hillbillies, but it seems like now you can only joke one way. Do you feel that a little bit?
Yeah. That they should. That's the thing. I think all jokes should be on the table, and if people don't like them, they should be free to say that. But it's like there's one specific type of joke that you're allowed to tell. There's other examples too. Like there's certain accents you can still make fun of, but then there's others that you obviously can't make fun of. There's clear double standards.
Absolutely. And by the way, drop it and dip. So let's see. Let's see. Sites then that once seen can't be unseen, and then there are the captions like, "Donald Trump supporters are all toothless, inbred white trash." Whoa, hold up. One. Well, no, they're not, because I've kind of decided that I'm going to vote for the man this time, and I'm
Awesome.
not toothless, inbred, nor am I white. Anyway,
White.
my search for batteries in Walgreens came to a dead halt. I froze up. My mind was erased. I was trying really hard not to feel what I was feeling. A voice inside my head said, "Don't get upset. Don't take it seriously. It's just a joke. Move on." I asked where they keep the batteries. Behind the counter, I was told the store didn't have the kind I needed, rechargeable. I moved toward the exit. Now, I don't know where this is going because I didn't read the whole thing. But I want to talk about narratives. Some of the narratives, and especially, obviously, this is an article about narratives,
Sure.
and I'll put this in the chat too. But there are a lot of narratives going around when it regards to the Black Lives Matter movement, the Antifa, the anything having to do with Trump. Here, let me get rid of this real quick. Stop sharing. There we go. Besides this seemingly one-sided who you can joke about narrative, what are some of the other ones that are prominent out there that we're starting to see, especially in the media?
As far as what, Trump and his supporters,
Well,
or just like race in general?
Well, I guess some of the popular media narratives, especially regarding what's going on with the election and what's going on with for example, the narrative that black men are being hunted in the streets, which is one that I talk about a lot, because we talk a lot about the what I call the man bite dog events. You know, the Breonna Taylor, for example, the Breonna Taylor case that just came. We just are having riots right now over, where LeBron James actually said that, we're just like we're being hunted in the streets, where this is such an incredibly rare event, where if you look at some of the statistics as far as even these so-called no-knock warrants, apparently I didn't know this, but I'm finding out as I'm doing some research that there are apparently 55 of these served every day. And
Yeah.
yet you don't hear of people being killed in the manner it was. It was not like every time someone serves a warrant that someone fires a gun at the officers, the officers return fire. Or even the perpetuated notion that the very fine people narrative that of Trump, what are some of the main ones that we end up talking about every day because some knucklehead on MSNBC keeps perpetuating it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have like what's clearly a double standard and an inconsistency with like the activists who are claiming that this is about Black lives, but they only cherry pick certain events to cover, and it seems like regardless of who, like whether it's white people or even Black people, there might be Black people that want to focus on problems in the Black community or like the Hoteps, right? But they get completely ripped by the media and the people who claim that they care about Black people. But it's more like the Democrats want to control the narrative and just use any problem, which right now they're focusing on police issues, but any problem in the Black community, just to basically raise money for Act Blue or whatever.
It does seem like a lot of it's a grift, and I always like to call it some SBLM, some Black Lives Matter.
Right.
I've been hoping that I would be out eating somewhere someday on like a on an outdoor restaurant, and I'm hoping someone would come up in a protest and approach me while I'm eating, and like they've been doing it like in Louisville and some of these cities.
Yeah,
because when they the woman that they had the other day where they were demanding that she raise her fist and she refused.
Yeah,
because I would be happy to refuse, and I would stand up and I would go, oh, okay, so you think Black Lives Matter, right? Okay. Do you know what the leading cause of death of Black males aged 15 to 45 is? and of course they would know, because they all think that police are killing people every day.
Yeah.
But if people were, the answer is homicide. But if they were killing people every day in this manner, how is it that every single one of their names then? You have a list of all the names. You wouldn't be able to keep up with a list like that. And so it's, that's one of those, especially, and also regarding violence. And I know you've been talking about this too on your show, of how these peaceful protests, right, and the violence versus the violence of the protest. So I've been hearing this. What is it? I've been hearing this constant undertone. In fact, Chris Ray did it the other day, talking about how the biggest threat in America right now is white supremacist groups.
Yeah.
The potential for their potential for violence and havoc versus the violence and havoc we see right in front of our eyes right now.
Yeah.
And because they call the Boogaloo Boys. Well, that sounds pretty. What's the word? I'll just say scary. That sounds pretty scary. Where have the Boogaloo Boys caused a bunch of violence? Oh, well, they did pick up those two guys. Okay. What about the shit burning in Portland and Seattle and Louisville and everywhere else right now? So I just wonder about that.
Yeah, I think so, especially like with Boogaloo Boys. So they have the one they claim that he belonged to the group, and I believe he shot a cop. But then there was a story that they were somehow helping Hamas, which that's not a right wing, like that doesn't make any sense. If they're a right-wing Trump supporting group, they would not be helping Hamas. I think it was something with weapons or some sort of funding that they were helping Hamas with. It absolutely makes no sense. And not that, look, is it possible that there would be a white supremacist attack? Sure, it's absolutely possible. But the majority of the violence we're seeing in the country now is not white supremacist violence. Of course, you have like Cenk and the lunatic from ESPN, Max Kellerman, saying that the violence that happens is white supremacists dressing up as BLM supporters to make the protest look bad. It's that's like completely crazy.
Yeah, I have no idea where they did. I mean, they did say that they had. Oh, you know what else we haven't heard about yet? Remember the guy during the Minneapolis protest, the guy that they caught breaking windows?
Yeah.
He was the Umbrella Man. They were calling him the Umbrella Man. And when I remember this distinctly when they said, oh, they think they might know who it is. And that he's the member of a biker gang who they think is part of a white supremacist, group.
Yeah.
Notice you haven't heard anything about him. They didn't name a name. They just threw out some narrative, right? And but then you hear nothing else about it. If they know who he is, well, how come they haven't picked him up yet? That was like a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just basically bullshit to try to get the narrative going, and they'll cherry pick. It gets really bad, like with the heat map. I think it was the ADL's heat map for left wing violence. There's nothing. There's literally nothing for left wing violence, and everything is considered right wing violence.
Right. Well, I got to tell you about the right wing violence report. But before I do that, though, thank you. We get so on my show, I get a lot of weird names. Just let's see, McCalkiner. That's a weird last name. That must be. It's kind of a combination of Irish and Scottish. Doug McCalkiner, who says, my brother Barry turned me on to a new barbecue joint, Cox Smokers. You'll suck their bones clean. Huh. Doug McCalkiner and Barry McCalkiner. Well, thank you for the 666. The devil's donation. Thank you very much. By the way, if you want to do a super chats or donations to the channel, you can do that through the Streamlabs link in the description down below. It also shows up in the chat. And I think Doug McCalkiner is the new superstar donor of the day. I don't have that on this particular screen. Yes, Doug McCalkiner, you are the new superstar donor of the day. Okay. Now I completely forgot what we were talking about.
The media narratives on the white supremacist violence.
Oh yeah, and so like another example. So the other day I did a story that there's this cemetery in Texas, a little small cemetery that apparently was historically a cemetery where they buried black people, and apparently someone went in and painted some graffiti on the tombstones in the cemetery in Texas, and most of it the graffiti was names of obscure angels in the Bible and stuff like that, but it was defaced, and there was it was a story in The Hill. The Hill, you're familiar with The Hill, right?
Yeah.
Which The Hill, I think, is just a publication, so to speak, that spends its time repeating Washington Post stories. But anyway, it was one of the featured stories in The Hill. Now, it was the only story in The Hill about any type of violence, even though I don't know if I would call spray painting violence or hate crime-ish type things. On this, one day earlier, there was a man in Louisville, Kentucky that walked into a restaurant and shot 3 people in the head at point blank range.
Yeah.
And that story didn't make a blip in any of the national news.
It didn't.
The selective news. Now, by the way, I do have one other story today, too. which doesn't seem to be getting any traction. I'll share this one with you too, because this one's incredible. And I hate it when they tell you about the race of people in stories, but they usually only tell you the race of people in stories if it's a white person doing something bad to a black person. And PJ Media did the other opposite here, and I'm not a fan of it when they do it either. But here's this story.
Oh yeah, this is awful. I saw this.
Black man murders 4-year-old white child in targeted attack. Does anyone in the media care? Now that's the question that we should be asking. Does anyone in the media care when it's this way? Before I do that, quick super chat. Thank you, Nadler's Diaper, who says, "My life sucks. Living as unwiped Jerry's depends. David Packman Power Enema has broke me and left full of shit." Thank you, Nadler's Diaper. I feel really bad for you. All right, moving on. So anyway, the media reacts quickly and with righteous indignation when a black person is shot by police or by someone white, no matter what the facts of the case are. But far too often, even in the most heinous cases, when a perpetrator is black and the victim or victims happen to be white, the headlines they're reporting are not anywhere near the same. We have seen it in the case of 5-year-old Cannon Hinnett, say his name, who was executed by a black man in August. And we're seeing it again with the death of a 4-year-old white child in a targeted attack by a black man, WKBN reported. The shooting occurred in Struthers, Ohio on Monday at around 1:55 a.m. 4 adults were also shot and are hospitalized. Andre Stephen McCoy Jr., Yarnell Green, Cassandra Marsciola, and Alex Schneider, all of Struthers, or I don't know, wherever they're from. The suspect, 24-year-old Kiamoni Bryant, turned himself in to police after a massive manhunt began to find him. The father of the deceased 4-year-old child spoke at a press conference prior to the suspect turning himself in. Rowan was the sweetest boy, he said. Rowan was the best. He is so young. He didn't deserve any of this. Buddy, I'm sorry for you, buddy. I love you. God, that's heartbreaking. Just be a man, David Sweeney said as he held up a photo of his son. You took my son from me. He was my baby boy. You took him because you're sick. I don't, the trends are not good. Of where you're seeing these just blatant, and it doesn't matter if it's, I don't care if it's a white kid. I don't care if it's a cop. I don't care if it's the Secoria, what's her name, in Atlanta that got shot when they were trying to pull into the parking lot near that Wendy's. Right. For some reason, the media just doesn't want to talk about all of the mayhem that's becoming a derivative of the protests. And I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's not good. And you can see, I mean, I think what's going on, you can, I think you can lay some of the blame on the media. I think the media is inciting some of this. There are people that believe the narrative that, like, America is a racist country and black people are being oppressed and brutalized and nothing's changed, since the civil rights era. There's people that believe that. And I think that they're taking action based on that. And that is not good. That is not good at all.
The media is absolutely feeding this because if it's one way, particularly in the man bite dog events, they sensationalize it and constantly they constantly promote it. It's on that CNN feed every hour for 24 hours or sometimes 48 hours. And every aspect of it is on CNN, and every aspect of it is on MSNBC. And the MSNBC hosts are going to tell you why it's racist and why that's Trump's America. When this shit's been happening in limited numbers, mind you. Well, the Michael Brown case, what was that, 2014? Trump hadn't even said he was running for president yet.
Right.
Trayvon Martin, that was also 2014 or 2014 or 2015. It's not like these events are new, but every time you have one of those events, and now with Twitter, oh God, the kid on the what was the guy got shot that with the knife. I think that was in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, Blake. Yeah.
So the guy comes out of the house with a knife, coming at with the cop with the knife raised up like he's coming out of the out of a rice paddy in Hanoi during Vietnam,
Yeah.
and he gets shot. But before any of the facts are known, it goes out on social media. It's already in regular media before he even got the body cam footage of the guy doing what he's doing. And so, yes, the media is absolutely stoking this. They want this because they got to get Trump out of there. The one time that Joy Behar told the truth when it came to what was the case where that was with wasn't that with Covington kids when she said because we want Trump out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. You can see like how people are getting radicalized. Like there's this ESPN announcer. His name's Mark Jones, I believe, and he just recently tweeted something along the lines of like, "My police escort, I'm afraid he's going to murder me." And I think Outkick did an article about this, and what they did is they looked through his tweets, and he had one, I think recently is a couple years ago, taking pictures with cops, with police escorts, talking about how he's thankful for the police escorts, and so these are like people in sports and in mainstream areas that are believing the media narrative and then promoting that narrative, and there are people that just they don't really look deep into information. So they'll just like, if they're watching ESPN and they hear, Max Kellerman say, white supremacists are the ones causing the violence in the protests, they'll just buy that. And I mean, there's people walking around thinking, yeah, they'll believe it. There's people walking around right now thinking that we're like in almost a Hitlerian era, and we're on the brink of some sort of like catastrophe. It's crazy.
Or even the Donald Trump is a dictator.
Yeah.
If Donald Trump is a dictator, he's the worst dictator in the history of the world. Because if he were a dictator, I think there'd be more people shot in the streets right now. Have you heard of one incident of police shooting a protester during these protests? Even one?
No.
No. They've shown the most amazing restraint in some of the most just brutal circumstances as far as some of these protests, the actual protests that turn into riots almost every time. Yeah, they say that there's 93% peaceful. Yeah, they're peaceful until it gets dark, and then that 7% of the dark time that they're out there rioting. But if he were a dictator, he would have just appointed someone to the court without the Senate. If he were a dictator, he would have sent the National Guard into Portland and started having shooting people. If he were a dictator, there'd be thousands of people in prisons or gulags right now. He hasn't done that.
The media would not be doing what they're doing right now.
Right. The media would be shut down.
Yeah.
I was watching you last night, and you had Joey Reid and some knucklehead on there talking about whatever the dangers of this and that. And I was thinking to myself, because I have a nephew. He's I think he's just turned 40 anyway. My nephew, and he watches nothing as far as news. He watches nothing but MSNBC. And so I don't talk politics with my family at all. But he gets to talking about stuff sometimes, and he only watches MSNBC. No other news source doesn't really have time to do the internet's thing and do any other research for himself.
Sure.
So he'll get to talking about something, and I'm like, and it's usually something Rachel Maddow or Joy Reid said about Russia, and I'm like, did you know that the Mueller report said that they didn't have actual evidence of collusion. What? What are you talking about? Did you know that some of the classified documents that came out from the interviews with the House, committee or whatever, said that they don't even have evidence that Russia hacked the DNC emails?
Yep.
Well, no, yes, they did. They hacked him. He was colluding with Russia. He's Putin's puppet. I'm like, have you read anything besides watching Rachel and I don't. And actually, my mother-in-law's that way too. She watches MSNBC all the time, and so we she'll start talking about something. Oh, Trump this and Trump that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Trump's such a dictator.
Ugh.
Yeah. Anyway, God. So, let's see. It's just about the top of the hour. Okay, let me do one last quick shill. By the way, the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Please share this stream out. You can hit that share arrow down there, or if you're on a mobile, it's up here. Hit the share arrow, share it out on your favorite social media, even though we're more than halfway through this particular episode. Also, for those of you who are new, I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT every weekday, Monday through Friday. And also, if you haven't hit the like button yet and you like what we're doing here, what the hell are you waiting for? Hit the like button, all right? We got almost 200 people here. We got 100 likes. Hit the like button right now. And finally, donations and super chats are done through the Streamlabs link in the description down below. Or see this PDawgKnight.live right here? We do them right there. You can go to PDawgKnight.live and there's a whole list of the little special alerts like you're just seeing right now with Black Hebrew Israelite. And we do super chats and donations through that. We also do donations through Venmo and Cashapp, which are in the description down below. That's my shill for the day. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite, for the...
That's right.
Yes, that's right. Who, with the 556, and he says, okay, they pulling people out of their car and beating the fuck that shit. I'm running... Wait, I'm trying to... Okay, let me try to read this. It's not always easy. I'm going to try to read this as it's written. Okay, because okay, if you may have noticed, I'm not the strongest when it comes to the vernacular. So I grew up around white people, so that's kind of how I talk. So let me try and say this in a way that makes sense to me. Plus, my grandmother was an English teacher, so we were not allowed to use vernacular anywhere near her, and she came around a lot. So anyway, Black Hebrew Israelite says...
That's right.
No, that's not what he says. You don't even hear that, HB. I have a little sound clip that goes, that's right.
Okay.
Okay. They pulling people out of their car and beating them. Fuck that shit. I'm running motherfuckers over, then wiping their remains off the bumper. That's right.
That's right.
So, yeah, another incident. We're going to get into this. I had a video of one of those incidents. Apparently this person, they drove through very carefully, slowly.
Yes.
Through the protest.
This is the white car?
The white car, yeah.
Okay.
And they drove down the street. I don't have it up anymore. And like 3 or 4 cars chased it down, pinned it in, started beating the guy, and eventually drove away. And the police arrested the driver of the white car that was being attacked.
Yeah, crazy.
What the fuck was that?
Now, I believe he was let go. I believe he was detained. I read that he was detained and let go, but still, like, first of all, he didn't hit anybody. He was driving through, and it was interesting because it looked like he got away. Because when I watched the video, he was pretty far away from them, and I'm like, how the fuck did they catch up? And then all of a sudden, you see this truck, and I looked closely, and at first I was like, wait, that looks like one of the Trump trucks. It was like it looked like one of the Trump trucks. And then I noticed it was commie flags. Except they had commie flags. And all these commies get out of the truck and they beat the guy. And I was like, wow, they are hunting people down in cars now, like in trucks. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I just saw that one this morning, and then then the police detained him. I don't know if that was like to protect him or what. I didn't see the rest of the end where they got him. So anyway, all right. So now it's at the top of the hour. Usually we do we catch up on the latest news to see if there's any new news that we can pull up. So I'm digging up my Twitter feed here, and my computer's moving a little slow. By the way, thank you everyone who is here in the chat today. I'm so glad you dropped by. If you'd be so kind, hit the subscribe button and pop that bell. I'm trying to get to I need to get to 1,000 subscribers, which I'm almost there. I'm just over 900 right now. So any of you can do that. Many of you have. John Hopkins, Lee Klassen, Rob Mack, Joseph Francis, all new subscribers today. E Caveman, Circle of Snakes, John Lisowski, whole bunch. Lord, there's a whole bunch today. Anyway, thank you for all of you who have subscribed. I really appreciate it. All right, hit that like button. All right, check it out. The latest news of the day on the Explore tab. Let's see on the news trending here. Let's see what we got. We'll just do some quick blips and see this comment. Kim Jong Un. Now it's weird how they wrote this because, you know, when they say Kim Jong Un, but then issues, it's almost like Kim Jong Un issues apology, but no, Kim Jong Un I almost said it that way. Kim Jong Un issues apology for quote unfortunate end quote killing of South Korean official. North Korea leader Kim Jong Un has issued an apology for the fatal shooting of a South Korean official. The 47-year-old man was allegedly attempting to defect to North Korea, but was shot dead by the nation's troops when he was discovered in their waters. His body was burned in line with what? His body was burned in line with anti-coronavirus regulations. Kim Jong Un said that he feels very sorry for the unfortunate incident. I thought Kim Jong Un was dying. What?
Yeah, it seems like that. I guess he's still going. Who defects to North Korea? What is going on with that?
That doesn't make sense. Attempting to defect to North Korea. You know, let's see. Here, let me see. I'll see if this there is a BBC article while that's loading here. Thank you, Justin Hermouth, again with the 556. Who says Durham really whips the llama's ass? Wait, didn't you say that before? Did I not scroll this? Oh, I didn't scroll it back up. That's why. Sorry, that made no sense. That was just. Oh no, thank you, Siamese Dream, for subscribing. I thought I already read that one. Anyway, Justin Hermouth, I do appreciate you. And I think you're still the superstar donor of the day. Okay, so let's see here. Here's the BBC article. Mr. Kim reportedly told South Korean leader Moon that the disgraceful affair should not have happened. South Korea has said the 47-year-old man was found by troops floating in North's waters. He was then shot dead and his body was set alight, according to Seoul. It does not know what the man was doing there. Okay, see, so that defect line, I'm assuming that's North Korea's version of what was happening.
I would.
Because this South Korea's version is they don't know what the man was doing there. The South Korean government has said he may have been trying. Oh, the South Korean government said this, that he may have been trying to defect to the North, but his family denied this. The killing, the first of a South Korean citizen by North Korea forces for a decade, has caused outrage in the South. Yeah, because they're still technically at war. So I'm sure it did. Anyway. Other headlines. We'll get there in a second. It just takes a moment. Well, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is in the news. Ruth Bader Ginsburg becomes the first woman to lie in state at the U.S. Capitol. The late Supreme Court Justice will lie in state on Friday at the U.S. Capitol building following her death on September 18th. Ginsburg will be buried in a private interment ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery next week. We were talking about this before the show, HB, and that answers your question when, not exactly, but the fascinating thing that I saw about this too is the Washington Post has had a live feed on her casket continually since 3 days ago when they had her, or 2 days ago since when they had her at the Supreme Court building. Did you see the thing yesterday when Trump tried to visit the casket?
Yeah, they were booing Trump. Yeah. They were saying like obey her wish or something like that.
They were saying, yeah, that was one of them, and then the other one was vote him out.
Yeah,
yeah, that very classy, very classy by the hooligans. Oh, thank you, Dog. Yes, Doug McCockiner is the superstar donor of the day right now. Still, we wanted to make sure I let us know, Doug McCockiner. Huh. That's still is that Scottish or Irish or Mick Cockiner? McCockiner. Doug McCockiner. And your brother's name's Barry? Barry McCockiner. That's okay.
I think it's my cock is in her.
Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite, who says he was heading to.
That's right.
Oh, yes, thank you. Black Hebrew Israelite has helped us clarify the issue with the gentleman from South Korea who is going to North Korea. He says he was heading to North Korea to Netflix and chill with his Tinder date. That's right. Okay, so.
Oh, all right.
So
that's right.
He brought her some food.
Yes. I see what you did there. All right. Other things. Oh my God. So, police. I'm sorry. I have to wait for this to. Here we go. Protest over Breonna Taylor decision take place in Louisville and other U.S. cities for a second night. Demonstrators hit the street for a second night in Louisville, New York City, Los Angeles, Baltimore, Rochester, Philadelphia. Hey, your neck of the woods, Philadelphia, and other cities across the U.S. following Wednesday's Kentucky grand jury decision that no officers would be charged directly with Breonna Taylor's death. One person was struck by a vehicle during demonstrations in Los Angeles, according to the LAPD. Unlawful assembly declared in Louisville as protests continued for a second night after curfew. Protests continued in New York City, Portland, and more cities on Thursday. Nationwide protests sparked on Wednesday after a Kentucky grand jury decided not to charge anyone directly over Breonna Taylor's death. There was one, what I was trying to read, apparently there was here it is. There was a standoff between police and some protester who they were trying to arrest who was taking refuge in a church. And, but for some reason the tab didn't, didn't tell me anything about that. I'm fascinated too about this. Oh my God. Jacob Blake Sr. traveled to Louisville to be with Breonna Taylor's family today, attorney Ben Crump says. Yeah, anytime, you're familiar with Ben Crump, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Anytime that Ben Crump is in the picture, I feel like the people who are trying to get justice for their loved one or whatever, almost always he's like the what's the word? He's like the angel of death. I mean, has he really won anything? I mean, yes, he won a suit for the family, got money for the family, but none of the cases go well for him, do they?
No, but he gets money. He seems effective at getting money.
Well, yeah, he must get money because he travels a lot. So he's getting 35 to
Yeah.
40% of all those settlements. So out of that 12 million,
Oh,
they
yeah.
had to get minimum of 30% of that 12 million. I gotta wonder if any of the families go, wait a minute, wait. You got us 12 billion. It says 12 billion. Why are we only getting 9?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Thank you, David Packman's Power Enema, who donated $2. It says, I do the deepest dives in the soft gentleman's anus. Now, for those who aren't familiar with anus, not his anus, anus, which is what does it say? What's that? What's it say?
Approved news from authoritative sources. It's the YouTube term.
Yes.
Approved news from authoritative sources.
Approved news from authoritative sources. That would be anus. That is that's the hard bastard's distant cousin, who doesn't always agree with HB, and you'll just have to go to HB's channel. By the way, please subscribe to HB's channel if you're not already. I think most of you are, since I think I have half of your whole audience here. But yeah, subscribe to HB's channel. It's in the description down below. Also, he's on Twitter at hardbastard, which is also in the Twitter description down below. And also, if you watch ANAS with the soft gentleman on, he does. Now, the one thing that I appreciate, HB, is that the hard bastard, though he disagrees with you often, he is very, I should say you're very accommodating to him to allow him to stream on your channel. And make sure if you watch his show to make sure to thumb up ANAS.
Yes, he likes that. He likes that a lot.
Yeah, fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, let's see what else is in that. What's the hot news of the day? Oh, did you hear about there's a little terror incident in Paris again?
Yes.
The terror investigation has been launched as 2 were stabbed near the former Charlie Hebdo offices in Paris. 2 people have been injured in a stabbing attack near the former headquarters of the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. According to French media, 2 suspects have been arrested by police. Initial reports suggested 4 people had been injured, but this was later revised. And the France's Counterterrorism Prosecutor's Office says it's opened an investigation into a knife attack near the former offices of Charlie Hebdo. Do you think it's just people getting restless from the lockdowns everywhere?
I don't know. I mean, they don't seem to have a lot of detail about this. So it could be an Islamic terror attack. It could be something else. It could be just street crime. I mean, who knows at this point? But I guess they'll probably figure it out, but then, of course, spin it. So it'll probably, if it's an Islamic terror attack, it'll get memory hold.
I know a narrative that's been going around, and it just happens to deal with what happened yesterday. And it was it on, I don't know if it was on your show or somewhere, but a lot of the news people are talking about how Donald Trump's going to take away your coverage for pre-existing conditions, and that they, if he gets his wish, the Supreme Court, they're going to take away health care, they're going to take away right to choose. Well, President Trump signs. Now, it's funny how Twitter editorializes everything, and a lot of these news, they're always talking about, they'll always add either, well, in this case, they add largely symbolic.
Yeah.
But with anything having to do with something he says regarding mail-in ballots, the discredited theory,
Yeah.
Anything he says, they have to editorialize. Anyway, President Trump signs largely symbolic executive order on pre-existing conditions in Charlotte. Donald Trump announced with 2 new healthcare executive orders at an event in Charlotte, North Carolina on Thursday. The president referred to his vision as the America First healthcare plan. The first executive order outlined the president's pledge to protect provisions for pre-existing conditions, even if the Supreme Court overturns the Affordable Care Act, which already provides those protections. The second order was in regards to banning surprise medical billing from insurers and requires Congress to pass legislation. Now, every once in a while, so I'm not like one of those MAGA people, right? But I agree with President Trump on a vast majority of the things politically that he does. But occasionally there are words that are used, and I don't know if this is the way Twitter wrote this or if this is how Trump actually said it. But that last sentence, the second order was in regards to banning surprise medical billing from insurers and requires Congress to pass legislation. Now, I know what they're trying to say, that in order for that to happen, Congress would have to pass legislation. But it seems that anytime there was an executive order in a prior presidency, if you know what I mean, it always seems like those executive orders were not only sacrosanct, I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. But they also had the force of law and often supported by the Supreme Court of the United States. So I'm trying to figure out how this particular order is not also sacrosanct. Whatever. How do you say that word? Whatever. Sacred. Let's say sacred.
Yeah. Sacred. Okay.
What could the difference be?
Yeah, it's I can't put my finger on it. Yeah, it's crazy. So the narrative surrounding this, they're putting the words largely symbolic. That's like a coordinated phrase being used, and also they're saying that like somehow, well, they're questioning his authority to sign an executive order, which is hilarious considering Obama, and they were fine.
You just said questioning his what about signing his about an executive order? Questioning his what?
His authority, whether he has authority. Yeah.
His authority to sign an executive order.
Yes.
That's very confusing. I'm confident that the president has a phone because he won't stop tweeting, and he has all kinds of pens because he gives them away after he signs things. He has boxes of pens and he signs things and he gives them away. He has a phone and he has phones and pens. Isn't that all you need?
Yeah, well, it's what Obama needed. I guess they act like anything he does is like wrong or like he's not allowed to do it, and that he somehow needs like approval from Democrats or the media to do it. It's amazing.
Huh. Yeah, that's just fascinating to me that his phone and pen isn't the same. He is the president of the United States. Ah, man, I don't get it. Let's see. Millions of acres have now burned in wildfires across the U.S. West Coast. We already knew that. I've noticed that they've made several arrests, and I saw I don't know who put the graphic out there, but there was a graphic that showed all these people who were arrested for setting fires, and they were pretty much all the way up and down the coast. I thought they had just arrested people in Washington.
Yeah.
But apparently there have been people arrested all the way from California to Washington, and it seems like there's about 20 of them that they've been arresting.
Correct.
Okay, that's interesting. Millions of acres is now burned across the West Coast. New evacuation orders were issued as the Bobcat fire approached 100,000 acres burned. Dozens of people have been killed as a result of numerous wildfires sweeping through the West Coast. The fires have burned a total of some 4.5 million acres in Oregon, California, Washington, and Idaho, according to Reuters. The wildfires are causing dangerous air quality and emitting record amounts of carbon dioxide. Great. All right. Now, the last story that I wanted to touch on for today is, and I think you did this one last night, but that Market Watch story.
Oh God, yeah.
Tell you what, I'm not going to look for it. Do you think you'd be able to summarize what that's about?
Sure. Sure. So it was a Market Watch article from a communist that said that we are going to need to do uh, climate change lockdowns that involve, lockdowns and the government banning most usage of your cars, banning red meat, all this crazy shit. And it basically makes an argument for communism, kind of like the Green New Deal. Like they'll say it's environmental, but then they don't really talk about the environment. They start talking about equity and all this shit. And so it's the first time I've seen, at least, that. I mean, Market Watch is a pretty mainstream corporate media outlet, and so I expect to see more of this. I don't think it's gonna. If Trump wins, I don't think that we're gonna have that shit in America. But some of these other countries, like Australia or UK, is locking down again. This might be their new normal. They love that word, new normal. And I like how Trump, in his speeches, he's always talking about getting back to normal. Right. I think that's a big sell for most people. I think they want that.
When I saw that, I thought, holy shit, was this COVID thing just a dress rehearsal to see if they could get away with it?
It's very possible. Yes.
Because it's funny. The other day when the McEnany, Kayleigh McEnany was doing the press conference, or not? No, I'm sorry, not that one. The one, when Rand Paul was questioning Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how the different responses in different places, and he obviously referenced Sweden, who really didn't do much of anything, and many of the states that didn't do anything. It almost seems like it didn't matter whether you had lockdowns, whether you wore masks, where you didn't wear masks. It seems like the entire world is getting to a point where it's about the same percentage of people who are dying from it. It's the same types of people who are dying from it. Yeah. And so what's the point of having these lockdowns? And Fauci got really angry. I mean, you can see it. He didn't say it. He didn't start yelling anything, but you could see his body language was just tightened up and just like, don't you question me. And so when we came to the narrative of one of the narratives going around right now, especially with the Kamala Harris speech you showed yesterday too, that Trump knew this pandemic would be this way, as if what he said on February 7th was the same thing he said on March 7th, April 7th, June 7th, and because they have the tape of him talking to Bob Woodward, right? But if you look at what Dr. Fauci was saying at the time, it pretty much matched what Trump was saying. And in fact, because I always pull up the day that Fauci was on the Today Show on the 29th of February, because that's after the 7th of February, where Dr. Fauci was still saying, you really won't have any need to change your lifestyle. Well, if it was and Dr. Fauci's the expert, not Donald Trump, right?
Right.
In theory. Well,
right.
If Dr. Fauci is on the 29th of February saying on a live TV show, not in front of the president, that you probably won't have to change your lifestyle, and then on March 6th, he's still talking about people going on cruises. He said, well, I wouldn't go on a cruise because, I'm older and I maybe have a little more risk than other people. But if you want to go on a cruise, go on a cruise. I think the foremost expert that everyone supposedly trusts and wants to be the new president, if he's saying that shit on March 6th, I really don't give a shit what Donald Trump said on February 7th to Bob Woodward.
Yeah, they're using Trump to kind of deflect from all of the times the media downplayed it, Fauci downplayed it, because I remember the narrative shifts several times. There was the one point where people in independent media, based on the best available information at the time, were saying that this seems serious, and the media narrative was, if you think it's serious, you're racist. And that the biggest problem is the xenophobia that it's causing with, anti-Asian sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's funny because you mentioned people on social media. Some people were talking about Sticks in the chat, and Sticks was on this. early January, like when the first announcement came out, and he was talking about, well, you're probably going to want to stock up on some dry goods and make sure this looks like it's going to be bad. And so that's what I mean. That's I heard him talking about, and that's how I knew about it. And then all of a sudden, it's trickling out with the team. You know, the other part, they love to talk about the so-called pandemic response team that got dissolved by Trump. But they never remember to mention that he put together his task force on January 25th was the first time they met, and then they announced the task force on the 30th. But my question to any of them, whenever they start talking about this, is what exactly would you have done different, and when, based on the information we knew?
Right.
Because there is no answer for that. Because they're talking about February 7th. Well, we still only we have one case that we knew of on February 7th. Yes, we knew it was deadly in China. Oh, and they love to use the word airborne, where they say it's airborne. It's not airborne. You might get flecks of droplets through the air, but it's not like an aerosol airborne like TB or something. But they Trump knew that it was deadly and it was airborne. Okay, on February 7th, if he knew that, should we have done then? Because there was one case in the country. Nobody had died from it yet.
If he would have pulled a New Zealand and just locked everything down, they would be killing him over that, and they would be like, he ruined the economy. That was a horrible overreaction.
Well, yeah, he would have lived up to his dictator status, which he hasn't done at all. So, yeah, that's just crazy. All right. Well, I'm getting close to the end of the show here, so I think we are going to wrap it up. But
sure,
before any of you make one click of a button, hit the like button if you haven't done so already, first of all. And thank you for all the people who subscribed during the show. HB Hard Bastard. That's the full name, not just HB. And by the way, say hi to the soft gentleman for me. Anything else you want to? Any ending thoughts for the day of what's happening in the world? Oh, also, please tell us what you're doing later today too, please.
All right. So today will be. Let's see, time-wise, I think 8 Eastern will be an episode of ANAS, and then 11 Eastern will be a Silent Majority episode. Next live stream is Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern on DLive, and there's a pre-show on YouTube at 6 Eastern Saturday.
Okay, outstanding. And any last thoughts on on anything?
I guess just look out for I think the media narrative to continue with Trump. Trump's going to steal the election, and they're doing that because they're realizing that with Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying, it's going to be very difficult for them to pull off their plan. And so I think that's what we'll see in the next few days.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you being here, ladies and gentlemen. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT for people in other parts of the world who don't use American time zones. And please, before you go, hit the like button, share the stream out. You can do it the share arrow down below or the one up here if you're on a mobile. And if you're watching the replay of this show, please leave a comment in the comment section so that I know you were here. All the new people in the chat today, this is fantastic. A whole lot of fun seeing lots of stuff. I couldn't keep up with it. I wish I could. But thanks for being here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and I think that's it. Anyway, it is time for me to go. I'm so glad we had this time together, but I'm not going to sing Carol Burnett's song right now because I'm running out of time. So thanks for being here. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Play the outro now. There we go. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.